little bit, but we just wanted to make sure that, like, hey, understand that, like, we take it one day at a time, but it's an exciting week, right? It's why we came to Alabama. That's why I stayed here. Play games like this against a really good team in a really good atmosphere. So it'll be exciting.
So your first road game, or your first start was a road game. How would you say you are now different now you have a few games under your belt for your next road game?
Yeah, a little more comfortable, right? I think the first game, we didn't really know what to expect, and it was just the first start. You know what I mean? Having a couple games under my belt definitely helps. Understanding, like, hey, this is what I need to do to prepare better, and understand, everything like that, and just kind of, know what I do best and understand my game better. So it'll be exciting, and I'm super, super blessed.
What were some of the things you were looking to clean up last week?
Yeah, one, just like make sure everybody gets healthy, right? A long season, make sure we got many more games after this. But two, just understand that, like, hey, keep the same routine. I think we're really, really good, have a bunch of camaraderie and a bunch of, rhythm with our offense and just, in general as a team. But I want to make sure that, like, hey, guys aren't staying up late, or guys aren't, going out and doing stuff that they're not supposed to. You know what I mean? Just kind of understand, hey, keep the same rhythm, right? You get a little extra sleep on the weekends and stuff like that, but also, right, hey, keep the same routine as in, go to school, go to church, go to, whatever you want to do, go hang out, but, understand, like, hey, this is a group, a week to recoup and get your body right.
What have you seen in Georgia's secondary so far?
Yeah, man, they're really, really good. They got a bunch of return players like Dalen, KJ, and other guys. They're real physical. They got good ball skills. So it's going to be. Got a lot of respect for those guys, man. So it's going to be tough going after them. They got a great front. So this is it'd be an exciting game. Great teams, great offense against a great defense, great vice versa on the other side of the ball. So it'll be exciting. That's why Mecca college football. You know what I mean? So.
You've always obviously been a part of SEC atmospheres before. What's kind of the message to you, whether it's freshmen, whether it's transfers that have never been a part of the SEC? Like, what do you tell them to expect?
Yeah, first off, right, like, this is, like I said, like, this is why you come to Alabama, play games like this against really, really good teams. Second off, right, like, this is, it's Georgia, don't get me wrong, but, like, there's many, many other games like this. I mean, like, SEC, like, is the hardest conference in college football. Every game's going to be like this. But also, the third thing is, like, it's all about us. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it bigger than what it is, right? It's just two good teams going after each other, and just understand, like, hey, this is what you need to do.
Georgia dialed up the pressure against Tennessee in the second half. What have you seen in their pressure packages, and how difficult is that for a quarterback to recognize who's coming where and different gaps and such?
Yeah, they were coming off that edge pretty good. Tennessee did a good job of picking up. The quarterback did a good job of getting the ball out, but they're coming from everywhere. I know, them having an off week last week like us, right? They're going to send a lot of stuff they haven't seen before. Or we haven't seen before, so it'll be difficult. But just got to be prepared and know my rules.
What's your thoughts on having Jam back and what he's going to bring to the offense, not just in the running game, but in the passing game as well?
Yeah, that man, he practiced like a wild man today. He was just happy to get out there. So it'll be exciting getting him back. That was my roommate. It's my guy since freshman year. We came in together. So I know he's chomping at the bit to get out there and play. And it gives our offense confidence knowing that a leader of our team is back playing and healthy, just like it is on defense with Tim Keenan.
Playing in the SEC is a different level of competition. What are you looking to learn as your first career start against an SEC opponent?
Yeah, one, just how different it is, right? I haven't played a Big Ten team, ACC team, and a Group of 5 team, right? So, kind of a little bit of everything, but I haven't got an SEC. I've been in games in the SEC before, so I kind of understand a little bit, right? But it's a different, going to be between the hedges, in Athens, right? Really good team, really good defense. So, I'm just really excited and blessed for the opportunity.
Have you, obviously this team hasn't played on the road, a true road game against Georgia since like 2015, so nobody's really experienced it, but have you heard anything about like what to expect from fans, from the atmosphere, game day, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be loud, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be fired up, I know it's a blackout, so, that's exciting. I haven't done that since, I think we played them in like 08 or whatever. So, it'll be great, but, I told the guys, like, just take it all in, you know what I mean? Like, this is a great, opportunity, and, you can tell your kids about this, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, it's just going to be, exciting, and, we're just super blessed, honestly.
Coach DeBoer said he sort of challenged everybody during the bye week to fine tune or improve their processes. Did you change anything about yours?
Yeah, yes and no, right? You know, like I said, I wanted to keep the same routine or whatever, but I also wanted to make sure that, like, hey, I really wanted to be, you know, technically sound in everything I did, you know what I mean? Because I know I'm not preparing for an opponent that week, but, like, I still need to be, you know, fine-tuned with everything, you know, technique-wise, right? So whether that's my drops or, you know, the way I throw or the way I move in the pocket, right? That's the biggest thing on the bye week is just making sure that, like, hey, you're, you know, physically ready to go for the next week when everything else is put on you mentally.
Ty, you spent 2 seasons going against a Nick Saban defense in practice. Do you see a lot of similarities with the Kirby Smart defense, or how different is it?
Yeah, no, you know, very, very similar. You know, of course, like you said, like I've been going against, you know, Coach Saban's defense for 2 years, and literally I feel like I've seen everything in the book from, you know, that guy, you know what I mean? But I know Kirby has, and Coach Schumann, you know, T-Rob's over there, so a lot of respect to those guys, and they throw their own twist on everything. So, you know, I just need to be ready, understand my rules, and just, you know, don't make it too big, you know what I mean? Just keep it simple and just play my game.
You feel like it helps you a lot, or I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, you know, the quarters world and stuff like that, the rip lives match. But, like, you know, you also got to understand, right, I'm not going against Coach Saban. I'm going against, you know, Kirby and Coach Schumann and those guys and then different players. So, you know, it has helped me, but also understand that, like, this is a totally different defense, totally different team, totally different players.
Seems like over the course of the first 2 games, you've been well connected with Jeremy, well connected with Ryan, especially against Wisconsin. How have you felt like you and Isaiah have kind of gelled over the first 3
Yeah,
games?
you know, I that's my guy, man. You know, I was just talking to him about earlier before I came in here. You know, I've known him since, you know, early high school. You know, knew him when he went to college. I wish he would, you know, wish he would have came here. But like you know, he understands everything football-wise, and I give a lot of respect to that guy just because he practices so hard. And he's not selfish. You know, he'll clear out a route. He'll block his tail off. You know, he just wants to win football games and, you know, just wants to have success. So, you know, he's one of the most selfless players that I've ever played with, and all those wideouts are, man. But, you know, tons of respect for that guy. That's my dog, man. Love him.
Have you had a chance to talk to Nick Saban at all before this game? Kind of use him as a resource?
Not really. I talked to him, you know, a little bit before the season of just, like, you know, how I should approach everything. But no, he tries to stay out of everything.
Just how much has it helped, though, having prepared for Georgia's defense the last couple of years?
Yeah, no, it definitely, you know, of course we played them last year, but they're going to play me different than they did Jalen. But, you know, like I said earlier, right, you know, going against his defense and Kirby and Georgia's defense, right, is similar, but it's also different. You know, different players, different schemes, different people calling it. So, you know, it has helped, but also understand that, like, 2 totally different people.
Yesterday, Coach Grove let it be known that Alabama's still rotating on their offensive line and stuff like that. Is there things that you can do from the quarterback standpoint to make things easier, alleviate stuff up front, just to get the offense flowing more smoother and stuff like that?
Yeah, you know, just understand, you know, my rules, understand the protections, get them in the right spot to not make it difficult on them. You know, because I think in the last couple games, right, I made it more difficult than I should have been. And just also, like, give those guys confidence, you know what I mean? I know, you know, they're always going to be constantly rotating, right? And they're all really, really good players and stuff. So, you know, I need to understand that, like, hey, man, like, let's go. When we get in the huddle, right, everything else doesn't matter. Just, you know, go play ball and go what you're supposed to do. So.
Obviously,
Thank you,
can't
Ty.